Picture this. You're watching your favorite streamer on a Tuesday night. She's talking about her day, responding to chat, everything perfectly normal. Then suddenly, she stops mid-sentence. Her eyes go wide. She looks at something off camera. And in the next moment, she's gone. Not just offline. Gone. Her chair is empty. Her room is silent. But the stream? Still running. And 50,000 viewers are sitting there, staring at an empty chair, wondering what the hell just happened. This is the story of Maya Chen, a 23-year-old college streamer who vanished during a live broadcast and left behind one of the most disturbing mysteries the internet has ever seen. Tonight's story is titled, "She Vanished from a Live Stream and Left Her Viewers Terrified." But before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, if you're wearing headphones, perfect. If not, you might want to put some on. Or, you can lower the volume now, just enough so my voice blends gently with the stillness of your room. Close your eyes. Let your shoulders sink just a bit more into your pillow. You don't have to do anything. Just listen. Before we get into what happened that night, you need to understand who Maya Chen was. She wasn't some massive influencer with millions of followers. Maya was what you'd call a cozy streamer, someone who built their audience through genuine connection rather than flashy content. She started streaming in her sophomore year at UC Berkeley, initially just to make some extra money for textbooks. Her setup was basic, a decent webcam, a gaming chair she'd bought secondhand, and a small apartment she shared with 2 roommates. What made Maya special wasn't her equipment or her games, it was her personality. She had this way of making every viewer feel like they were hanging out with a close friend. She'd remember people's names, ask about their jobs, their pets, their relationships. Her chat wasn't just numbers, it was a community. By October 2024, she had built up a solid following of about 15,000 regular viewers. Not huge by today's standards, but loyal. They called themselves Maya's Night Owls because she streamed late, usually starting around 10 p.m. Pacific and going until 2 or 3 in the morning. Maya was studying psychology, and she'd often weave little insights about human behavior into her streams. She was fascinated by online communities, digital relationships, the psychology of social media. It was actually the topic of her senior thesis. "I find it incredible," she once told her viewers, "how we can form these deep connections with people we've never met in person. Sometimes I feel closer to you all than to people I see every day in real life." Those words would prove to be eerily prophetic. October 23rd, 2024. A Tuesday night like any other. Maya went live at 10:17 p.m. with her usual greeting. "Hey Night Owls, how's everyone doing tonight?" But according to viewers who were there from the start, something felt off. Regular viewer at Nocturnal Reader 92 later posted, "Maya seemed distracted. She kept looking away from the camera, like someone was texting her or something was happening in the background." Another longtime follower, at Gaming Grandma 73, noticed Maya checking her phone more frequently than usual. She'd usually put her phone in a drawer during streams to avoid distractions. But that night, it was right there on her desk, and she kept glancing at it. The first hour proceeded relatively normally. Maya was playing a puzzle game, chatting with viewers about their week, responding to donations. But around 11:30 p.m., things started getting strange. A user named Whisper in the Dark joined the chat. This username had never appeared in Maya's streams before, but what they said immediately caught everyone's attention. "Maya, you need to check your messages. It's important." Maya paused the game and looked at the chat. "Oh, hi there, Whisper. I don't see any messages. Are you talking about stream donations? Or social media?" At Whisper in the Dark, the messages you received today, the ones you've been ignoring. Maya's expression changed. The casual, friendly demeanor that her viewers knew so well suddenly became tense. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but let's keep things positive in chat. Okay, everyone. But at Whisper in the Dark wasn't done. Room 237. You know what that means. The chat exploded. Regular viewers started asking what was going on. Some thought it was an inside joke they'd missed. Others sensed something more sinister. Maya's face went pale. She actually pushed back from her desk, her gaming chair rolling slightly out of frame. I think we might need to end the stream early tonight. Guys, she said, her voice shaky. I'm not feeling great. But at Whisper in the Dark had one more message. Don't go offline. Maya, we need to talk. And here's where it gets really weird. Maya read that message, and instead of ending the stream like she planned, she stayed. For the next 45 minutes, she sat there, occasionally responding to regular chat messages, but clearly distracted. She kept looking at her phone, then at her door, then back at the camera. At midnight, Marcus, one of her moderators, tried to lighten the mood. Maya, want to tell us about your psychology class? You mentioned you had an interesting lecture yesterday. Maya seemed to snap back to reality. Oh, right. Yeah, we were talking about parasocial relationships. It's fascinating how people can develop one-sided emotional connections with media figures, streamers, actors, even fictional characters. She paused, seeming to choose her words carefully. But sometimes those relationships aren't one-sided. Sometimes the person on the screen starts feeling connected too, and that can be dangerous. The chat was confused. Maya had talked about parasocial relationships before, but never like this. Never with such an edge to her voice. At Bookwormbeth22 asked, dangerous how, Maya? Well, Maya said, her eyes darting to her phone again, when someone believes they know you better than you know yourself. When they think they can predict your behavior, your choices. When they feel entitled to involvement in your personal life. 12:47 a.m. Maya had been streaming for over 2.5 hours. Most of her regular viewers were still there. They'd grown worried about her strange behavior and didn't want to leave her alone. She was in the middle of responding to a donation from at Supportive Sarah, who had sent $50 with a message, "Hope you're okay, Maya. Your streams always brighten my day." "Oh, thank you, Sarah," Maya said, managing a smile for the first time in over an hour. "You know, you guys really are like family to me. Sometimes I think about what my life would be like without this community, and I honestly can't imagine." She stopped mid-sentence. Her smile vanished. Her eyes locked onto something off-camera, somewhere near her apartment door. The chat immediately noticed. At Night Owl Forever, Maya, you okay? At Gaming Grandma 73, what are you looking at? At Midnight Marcus, Maya. But Maya wasn't reading chat anymore. She was completely focused on whatever she was seeing off-camera. Slowly, she reached for her phone. Her hands were visibly shaking. Then, clear as day, viewers heard something that made their blood run cold. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on her door. Maya's face went white. She mouthed the word no, but no sound came out. The knocking came again. 3 knocks, same rhythm, same intensity. Maya stood up from her chair so fast it rolled backward out of frame. She moved toward the camera, and for a moment, her face filled the entire screen. Her eyes were wide with terror. "Chat," she whispered, so quietly that viewers had to turn up their volume to hear her. "I need you to listen carefully. If something happens to me..." Knock, knock, knock. This time the knocking was more insistent. Maya looked toward her door, then back at the camera. Remember room 237. Remember at Whisper in the Dark. And remember... The knocking stopped. Maya froze. She stood there for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 10 seconds. The chat was going absolutely insane. At Bookwormbeth22, call the police. At Nocturnal Reader 92, Maya, get out of there. At Supportive Sarah, what's happening? Then Maya did something that still gives me chills. She looked directly into the camera and said, in the calmest voice possible, "Thank you for everything, Night Owls. Take care of each other." She turned away from the camera and walked toward her apartment door. Viewers could see her in profile as she approached it. She paused, looked back at the camera one more time, then reached for the doorknob. The stream continued. The camera was still rolling. But Maya Chen was never seen again. Here's what happened next, according to the archived chat logs and police reports. 12:52 a.m. Maya opens the door and steps out of frame. Viewers can hear muffled conversation but can't make out words. 12:53 a.m. the conversation stops. Complete silence. 12:54 a.m. at midnight Marcus starts trying to organize viewers to call Berkeley Police. 12:58 a.m. several viewers report calling 911. 1:15 a.m. The stream is still running. Maya's empty chair is visible. Her computer is still on. Games still paused on screen. 1:23 a.m. Berkeley police arrive at Maya's apartment complex. Neighbors report they didn't hear any disturbance. 1:45 a.m. Police confirm Maya's apartment is empty. No signs of struggle. Front door is unlocked and slightly ajar. 2:30 a.m. Maya's roommates return from a late study session. They confirm Maya was alone when they left around 10 p.m. 3:15 a.m. Stream finally ends when Maya's computer automatically goes to sleep. The Berkeley Police Department initially treated this as a missing person case. Maya was 23, an adult, no history of mental health issues, good relationships with family and friends. By all accounts, she had simply vanished. Detective Sarah Rodriguez was assigned to the case. In an interview 6 months later, she described it as unlike anything I'd encountered in 15 years of police work. The digital evidence was unprecedented, Rodriguez explained. We had thousands of witnesses to whatever happened, but none of them were physically present. It was like trying to solve a crime that occurred in a parallel dimension. The investigation focused on several key areas. The digital trail. Police seized Maya's computer and found her browser history, social media accounts, and email. Nothing unusual. Homework, streaming-related research, conversations with friends and family. No threats, no suspicious contacts. At Whisper in the Dark, this proved to be the most frustrating lead. The account was created just hours before Maya's stream using a VPN that masked the user's location. The email address used for registration was fake, created with temporary email services. Digital forensics experts called it expertly obscured. Room 237. This reference initially seemed like it might be significant. Room 237 is famous from The Shining, the haunted hotel room. But investigators found no connection between Maya and the movie, the book, or any location with that room number. Maya's phone. This is where things get really interesting. Maya's phone was found in her apartment, on her desk, right where viewers had seen it during the stream. But here's the weird part. Her last received text was from her mom at 3 p.m. that day, asking about Thanksgiving plans. No mysterious messages, no threats, but phone records showed something else. Maya had received 47 calls from an unknown number between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. that evening, right before she started streaming. She didn't answer any of them. Detective Rodriguez reached out to Maya's family, friends, classmates, professors. Everyone described the same person: responsible, reliable, not prone to dramatic exits or risky behavior. Maya's best friend, Jessica Liu, was interviewed multiple times. She revealed something that hadn't come up in initial questioning. About 2 weeks before she disappeared, Maya mentioned feeling like someone was watching her. Not during streams. She expected that. In real life. Walking to class, at the grocery store, in the library. She said she kept seeing the same person in different places, but when she tried to get a better look, they'd be gone. Jessica had encouraged Maya to report it to campus security, but Maya brushed it off. She said she was probably just being paranoid because she'd been reading about stalking for her psychology thesis. Maya's thesis advisor, Professor David Kim, provided another piece of the puzzle. Maya's research focused on digital stalking and parasocial relationships in online communities. Her thesis examined how some viewers develop obsessive connections with content creators. Maya was particularly interested in cases where the parasocial relationship becomes bilateral, Professor Kim explained. When the content creator begins to feel genuinely connected to their audience, it can create vulnerabilities that bad actors can exploit. Maya had interviewed several streamers who'd experienced stalking, harassment, and real-world intrusions from viewers. Her research documented dozens of cases where online obsession led to offline danger. As weeks turned into months with no leads, theories began to emerge, both from law enforcement and from Maya's dedicated viewers who refused to let her case go cold. Theory 1. Planned disappearance. Some investigators initially suspected Maya had staged her own disappearance. The timing seemed almost theatrical. Disappearing during a live stream guaranteed maximum attention and thousands of witnesses. But this theory fell apart quickly. Maya had no financial problems, no legal troubles, no reason to run. Her bank accounts remained untouched. Her social media accounts were never accessed again. Most importantly, Those who knew Maya best insisted she would never put her family through such anguish. Theory 2. Random crime. Perhaps Maya simply encountered a random criminal, someone attempting a burglary who panicked when confronted. But this didn't explain at Whisper in the Dark's messages or the phone calls from the unknown number. Theory 3. The stalker theory. This became the prevailing theory among both police and Maya's online community. Someone had been monitoring her streams, learning her schedule, her address, her vulnerabilities. They'd escalated from digital harassment to real-world contact. Maya's viewers began conducting their own investigation. They analyzed every frame of her final stream, every chat message, every detail of her setup. What they discovered was disturbing. A user named at Digital Detective 47 made a breakthrough 3 months after Maya's disappearance. By analyzing reflection patterns in Maya's computer screen, they identified that someone had been taking photographs of her apartment from outside her window, possibly for weeks. If you enhance the glare on her monitor at timestamp 11 hours 23 minutes and 15 seconds, at Digital Detective 47 posted, you can see a camera flash reflecting from the building across the street. Other viewers found more evidence buried in Maya's previous streams. Unexplained sounds from outside her apartment, shadows moving past her window during late-night streams, comments from accounts that seemed to know details about her daily routine that she'd never shared online. But the most chilling discovery came from at Night Owl Archivist, a viewer who had been systematically cataloging every stream Maya had ever done. They found that at Whisper in the Dark hadn't just appeared on October 23rd. The account had been present in Maya's chat for months, but only as a lurker, never participating. They'd been watching, learning, waiting. I tracked the viewing patterns. At Night Owl Archivist posted. At Whisper in the Dark joined within minutes of Maya going live for her last 47 streams. They stayed until she logged off. Every single time. This was someone with an obsessive level of dedication to monitoring her schedule. Even more disturbing, at Night Owl Archivist found evidence that at Whisper in the Dark had been present during streams when Maya mentioned personal details, her class schedule, her favorite coffee shop, her roommate's work hours. They weren't just watching the streams. At Night Owl Archivist concluded, they were gathering intelligence. 8 months after Maya's disappearance, the case seemed to have gone completely cold. Detective Rodriguez had been reassigned to other cases. Maya's family had hired a private investigator. Her online community had dwindled from thousands of active searchers to a few dozen dedicated followers. Then, in June 2025, something unexpected happened. At Bookwombeth22, one of Maya's longtime viewers, was browsing a completely different platform, a small forum dedicated to urban exploration. She was looking for distraction from the anniversary of Maya's disappearance when she saw a post that made her blood run cold. The post was titled Abandoned Building Photography, Room 237, and contained a series of photographs taken inside an old, derelict hotel about 30 miles outside Berkeley. The photos showed a rundown room with peeling wallpaper, broken furniture, and boarded-up windows. But in the corner of one photograph, barely visible in the shadows, was something that made at Bookwombeth22's heart stop. Maya's gaming chair, the same second-hand chair she'd bought for her streaming setup. The same chair viewers had watched her sit in for hundreds of hours. The same chair that had rolled backward out of frame during her final stream. At Bookwombeth22 immediately contacted the private investigator Maya's family had hired. Within hours, police were at the abandoned Riverside Hotel, a building that had been closed since 2019. What they found in room 237 changed everything. The room had been turned into a shrine. Dozens of printed screenshots from Maya's streams covered the walls. Her gaming chair sat in the center of the room, positioned to face a large monitor that had been illegally connected to the building's residual power supply. But that wasn't all. Along one wall, investigators found detailed journals documenting Maya's streaming schedule, her daily routines, her personal relationships. Maps of her neighborhood with her apartment marked, photos of her walking to class, records of her movements going back months. And in a metal filing cabinet, they found something that finally gave them their first real lead, a collection of printed emails between the room's occupant and a dark web service specializing in what they called reality extraction. The emails revealed a chilling plan. The occupant, who signed their messages as Whit D, Whisper in the Dark, had paid for a service that would help them extract their subject from digital existence into physical reality. The service provider's response was even more disturbing. Package includes subject research, psychological profiling, optimal approach timing, extraction coordination, and post-extraction containment. Standard rate for digital personality extraction, $50,000. Subject appears ideal for long-term containment scenario. The emails revealed that Whitty had been planning Maya's abduction for over 6 months. They'd studied her psychology, her vulnerabilities, her streaming patterns. They'd identified her apartment building's security weaknesses, her roommates' schedules, even the optimal time to approach her without being seen by neighbors. The final email in the chain was sent at 11:47 p.m. on October 23rd, just 1 hour before Maya disappeared. Subject is live. Executing Phase 3 now. Will confirm successful extraction within 24 hours. There was no confirmation email. The discovery of Room 237 transformed Maya's case from a cold missing person investigation into an active kidnapping case with potential interstate implications. The FBI was brought in. Digital forensics experts analyzed every piece of evidence found in the hotel room. The Reality Extraction Service became the subject of a massive federal investigation that uncovered a network of similar crimes across multiple states. But they still didn't know who Whitty was or where Maya might be. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, Maya's own research. FBI agent Sarah Chen, no relation to Maya, was reviewing the victim psychology thesis when she noticed something significant. Maya had documented several cases of streamers being stalked by viewers, but one case study stood out. Maya had written about a Twitch streamer named Jennifer Walsh who'd been harassed by a viewer who used multiple accounts, sent anonymous gifts to her address, and eventually broke into her apartment. The stalker was caught and identified as Robert Bobby Hendricks, a 34-year-old programmer from Stockton, California. Hendricks had been released from prison just 3 months before Maya's disappearance. Agent Chen requested Hendricks' probation records and found several violations: unauthorized computer use, failure to report address changes, and missed check-ins with his probation officer. Most significantly, his last known address was a storage unit facility just 2 miles from the abandoned Riverside Hotel. On June 15, 2025, federal agents raided the storage facility. Unit 237, he couldn't help himself with that number, contained more evidence of Hendricks' obsession with Maya. But it also contained something else: detailed construction plans for a containment facility in a remote location in the Nevada desert. The plans showed an underground bunker system with living quarters, surveillance equipment, and what appeared to be a broadcasting setup. Handwritten notes indicated that Hendricks planned to force Maya to continue streaming, but only for him. Subject will maintain streaming schedule. One note read: private audience of one ensures complete control over parasocial relationship dynamic. The FBI immediately began searching properties owned by Hendricks or his known associates in Nevada, California, and Arizona. June 18, 2025. 3 days after the storage unit raid, FBI agents located a property in rural Nevada matching the bunker plans. The property was registered to a shell company that investigators traced back to Hendricks. The rescue operation began at dawn. What they found underground confirmed their worst fears and their greatest hopes. Maya Chen was alive. She was found in an underground room that had been converted into a replica of her streaming setup. Her gaming chair, her computer, even the same webcam she'd used for her streams. But the camera fed to only one viewer, Robert Hendricks. Maya was physically unharmed but severely traumatized. She'd been held captive for over 8 months, forced to maintain a facade of normalcy while streaming for an audience of one. Hendricks had convinced her that her family and friends believed she was dead, that her online community had forgotten her, that he was the only person who truly cared about her. He made me stream for him every day, Maya later told investigators. He said if I stopped, if I tried to run, he'd hurt the people I cared about. He knew everything about my family, my friends, my viewers. He'd monitored all of them after I disappeared. Hendricks had been living in the bunker with Maya, maintaining the delusion that they were in a relationship, that she was streaming because she wanted to, not because she was being coerced. When FBI agents breached the bunker, they found Hendricks watching Maya's private stream while taking notes in a journal titled Our Life Together. Robert Hendricks was arrested and charged with kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, stalking, and multiple federal crimes related to interstate transportation of a victim. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, claiming he genuinely believed he was in a consensual relationship with Maya. The case revealed disturbing details about the reality extraction service and led to arrests of similar predators across the country. The FBI identified at least 12 other victims of the same network, though Maya was the only one they found alive. Maya's rescue made international headlines, but she struggled with the aftermath of her experience. She declined most interview requests, issued only a brief statement thanking law enforcement and her online community for never giving up on finding her. "The night owls never stopped looking," she said. "When I had lost all hope, when I believed I was forgotten, you were still there. That knowledge helped me survive." Maya did not return to streaming. She completed her psychology degree through independent study and now works with law enforcement agencies, helping them understand the psychology of digital stalking and online predation. The case of Maya Chen's disappearance fundamentally changed how we think about online safety and the dark side of parasocial relationships. It exposed vulnerabilities in streaming platforms, led to new federal legislation regarding digital stalking, and highlighted the need for better protection of content creators. But perhaps most importantly, it showed the power of online communities when they come together for good. Maya's viewers, her night owls, refused to accept her disappearance. They conducted their own investigation, preserved evidence, and ultimately provided the key breakthrough that led to her rescue. Today, Maya Chen lives quietly in a location she's chosen to keep private. She's working on a book about her experience and advocates for stronger protection of online content creators. The abandoned Riverside Hotel has been demolished. Room 237 exists now only in police evidence and in the memories of those who uncovered its secrets. Maya's final stream, the one where she vanished, has been archived by her community. It serves as both a memorial to what she endured and a reminder of the very real dangers that can emerge from the digital shadows. If you're a content creator, Maya's story offers crucial lessons about protection, privacy, and the importance of trusting your instincts when something feels wrong. If you're a viewer, remember that the people you watch, the streamers you support, the creators whose content brightens your day, they are real people with real lives, real vulnerabilities, and real need for safety and respect. The internet connected Maya Chen to thousands of people who cared about her well-being. In the end, that same connection saved her life, but it also nearly destroyed it. The line between digital and reality isn't as clear as we once thought. And sometimes, the people watching are closer than they appear. Maya's story is a reminder that behind every screen, every stream, every online personality, there's a human being who deserves to be safe, even when the camera stops rolling. The night owls are still watching, and they are still protecting their own.